When I was a kid, I used to love to take things apart. I wasn't always good about putting it back together, though. I have pieces all over the place. I mean, I put something back together, and there were always like these 2 or 3 pieces that just never seemed to fit. I was listening to some people, and they were arguing about what day to worship on. Should we be worshiping on Sabbath? Should we be worshiping on Sunday? I don't want to split hairs here. I mean, if we stop and really think about it, we all know the real answer. The real answer is we should worship with every breath that we take, because He is God. Keeping the Sabbath, though, it's like that piece of the puzzle that's just kind of out there. It just sits out there, and nobody really knows what to do with it. When I read in Genesis 1, it actually starts with God. In the beginning, God. I mean, the Bible tells us that it all starts with Him. I mean, we learn about the creation week. We learn about light being made, and we learn about the sun, moon, and stars, and we learn about an atmosphere being created. We learn about water being made. We learn about animals that are made inside the water and on the dry land. We learn about the trees and the fowl of the air. We learn about all of these things. We even find out, the Bible even tells us about the creation of man. It's interesting. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every single day ends the same way. In the evening and the morning were the first day. In the evening and morning were the second day. In the evening and morning were the third day. The fourth day. The fifth day. The sixth day. And then all of a sudden something changes. It says on the seventh day, God rested from all of His labors. He rested. He set the day apart and He made it holy. Fast forward 2,500 years. You get to Moses, and he gets these commandments. And the first commandment, it tells us, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Why? I mean, were there other gods, and people could possibly place something else in front of God? I mean, it goes on and it tells us not to take His name in vain. It tells us not to make any graven images and worship them, bow down to them. Not take His name in vain. Wow. In other words, if you're gonna call yourself a Christian, live like one. Then it gets to this fourth one. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath. It goes back to that seventh day thing, back where I remember in Genesis, and in Genesis it tells me on the seventh day He rested. And then this commandment, on the seventh day, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath. In Spanish, the Sabado, the Shabbat, the rest. Thou shalt not do any work. Doesn't say anything about worship there, does it? No, thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. It says, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that in them is. And then He rested on the Sabbath day. Wherefore the Lord blessed it, and He made it holy. He rests on the seventh day. He sets it apart, and He makes it holy. King James says He sanctifies it. And sanctification is the process in which something is made holy. Is it possible? Is it possible that if I keep that day, I enjoy part of the sanctification process? It's possible that if I honor the day that was set apart and made holy, I too can be made holy. I don't know. What I do know is this. When I fast forward down to the day of Jesus, they ask him, why do you let your disciples go into the fields and pick grain on the Sabbath day? And he tells them, he reminds them about David. And when David came back from battle and he was hungry and he went into the temple and he tells them that David ate the show bread, he actually went in and he ate the Holy Communion bread because he was hungry. Then Jesus says something to them very peculiar. The Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for man. It was made for man. Maybe the Sabbath is a date. Maybe he wants to meet me. Maybe it's a day set aside so that I can meet with him. A date with Jesus. Every 7 days. I have to remember that he's Lord. I mean, the Lord keeps popping up in that fourth commandment. Lord. It actually means someone who's in charge of. It's so easy for me to think on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that I have to try to do everything I can. I got to work hard and bring home the money so that I can pay the bills, so that I can do all these things, so that I can take care of my house and take care of my car and take care of my family. So that I. And all of a sudden, one day I'm reminded that it all starts with him. Remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All he wants is one. That's it. Just one. Just so that he can meet and remind me that he's in charge of my life, in charge of everything that I worry about, in charge of all of this creation that I try to manipulate for my own good. He's in charge. Remember.